Hi everyone, this is Emanuele from Italy, but you know me better as Evil Dead Italia. Today, this evening, or depending on your time zone, we are going to have a very cool guest that is called Satherley from Ash vs. Evil Dead Art Department. But before presenting him, I'm going to present my co-host this night. That is Chris Hamilton. Hello, Chris. How are
Hello
you?
there. I'm all right, buddy. How about you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you for being here, and
Of
thank you for
course.
being the reason for the which we have this interview because you generated the question from which in a Facebook group, Night of Sumeria, you generated the question for which we started talking about
Yes.
the poster of Scott. So anyway, without any further ado, here it is, Scott. Hello, Scott. Thank you for being
Hello,
with us.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having someone that which worked on a such cool franchise we love a lot. And so first question, first is a stupid one, but it makes sense. Did you know the Evil Dead franchise before joining the art department, or it's something
I,
it was something new for you?
absolutely. When I was maybe 10 or 11, me and my cousin would watch Army of Darkness. That I sort of went backwards. Like I started with Army of Darkness and then like fell in love with it. We would watch it over and over and over. We were kind of like into horror movies at a very young age. We'd go to the video store and the person working behind the desk knew us, and we'd sort of in these movies, like sort of whatever we could find, like Witchboard, Body Melt, and Army of Darkness, and just we just loved it. And then when I was a little bit older, I saw Evil Dead 2, fell in love with it, and then watched Evil Dead 1, and just a big fan. I read Bruce Campbell's book even when I was maybe 20, and at the time I was going to art school, and I started doing short films, kind of like parody horror stuff, and loved how in that book he had a lot of descriptions of stuff. And so when the first sort of notion of an Evil Dead movie came about, I just started in film, and I was working on a film in Wellington at the time, and I heard, oh, there's a new Evil Dead movie being made. I got very excited and heard that it was kind of a bit more of a hard hitting, like serious one without a lot of that stuff. And that Fede Alvarez, and we watched this short film that he made that kind of got him the role. And I remember going, man, I would have loved to have worked on that. And eventually worked on Power Rangers and met
Nice.
Al Gillies, who and Matt Cornelius, who was the prop master on the Evil Dead movie. And they were, telling me all the great stories with the bread knife and stuff. So when the Ash vs. Evil Dead series came, I did get a job offer for it for season 1, but I was on a different job.
Mm.
And when you're in film, you kind of have to stick to a code. And if you're partway through a thing and as a contractor, you have to see it through. So I couldn't do the graphics for the first season, and then I watched it, and I was just loved it. I loved everything about it. It was just so funny, and like what a great kind of continuation of that saga. Like the whole setup of him being older. He opened this portal to hell. He fought the demons. He won, and now he's kind of a jaded old guy. It's
Yeah.
just so funny. And so I messaged everyone I could, particularly Gareth Edwards, who's the set decorator on it, and I got into season 2. Started then. So yeah, I was a big fan coming in. So it was kind of like living my dream
That's
at that point.
awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And how much is how much how many people work in an art department? Because I talked with Nick Bassett in the past. I mean, there is a lot of person creating. There are concept artists. There are the artists that make storyboards. So how many person are in a team like the art department for a TV series like Ash vs Evil Dead?
Ooh, quite a lot. And I guess the easiest way is to break down the departments within the art department. So obviously from the top, you've got the production designer, which was Nick, and then the offset art director, which was George Hamilton, and then you've got the set decorating department, and then you've got the props department, and then you've got the construction team, you've got the painters, all sort of, it's a giant thing. Within the design team, or the kind of people that make a lot of the, I guess, decisions, would probably be 20 people, I want to say. But the way film is, you can cut it way back to just 5 people, and you make a raw, a small movie with, you can really reduce it if you need to. On that one, it was quite a big show, so there was quite a lot of people. Like, at least the props department, they had prop master, and then the assistant, and then a whole team of prop makers, and then a lot of the stuff they would make would get outsourced to different prop making places, and then just a lot of people with the vehicles that were just in charge of the vehicles. Like, it's a big machine. There's a lot of fat.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So in the graphics department, initially it was just me. And I did get an assistant to help me. And there was a few outsourced moments. But yes, it was I guess the graphics was always, it tends to be one of those departments that's overlooked, in particular with budget. So they go, we got maybe, $20,000 to spend on all the printing, and it ends up coming in a lot more because there's just so much printing and stuff that no one considers ahead of time. So, we got flooded, and then I had to bring in someone to help.
Wow. Oh. And another question about is your work. I mean, did ever happen you were on set, or you work from your house, your home, from office? I don't know.
I was not on set. I was in an office on the computer all day. But we're fortunate enough to be, on site where the studio was. So I could leave my desk and walk across to the studios and have a look. There was a couple of them were a bit of a longer drive, but we're able to visit when we needed to. It was all, at hand's reach, I guess. But definitely working on site, because you need that communication and just everything. Like, it's so important to be part of that team, and it also gives you the enthusiasm to work, because they're long hours. They're 50 plus hours a week stuck at a computer. You need that boost from everyone to get through it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, absolutely. Have you any question, Grace? Or
I was gonna ask, do you have a favorite moment from being able to visit the set, being able to go on site at all?
Yeah, definitely the Elk Grove Street. That was the biggest set I'd ever seen in my life. Like, it was a street. I had a full road, full footpaths. Like, you could walk up and down it. Cars would drive up and down it, and it was just so, like, you're absorbed into that world. Like, as soon as you walk in, you see this, like, kind of Detroit town that's past its prime and a little dilapidated.
Yeah.
There's a bar that you can go in, and there's neon signs everywhere, and you can sit down and, like, look around, and then all the streets. It was just incredible, and it was fun, very fun to see that get built, and then just the detail, the amount of stuff going into it, and be part of the, I guess the in a subtle way, the aesthetic of it was quite meaningful. Later on, that street set became a live interactive thing called Pleasure Dome, was starring Lucy Lawless. So
Oh wow.
Rob Tappert at some point went, I want to turn the street into a spectacle. And I guess at some point there'd been this, musical written that Lucy Lawless was a part of, and they decided to combine that musical with those streets. And so the
Oh
street
wow.
became repurposed as a kind of 1980s New York. And we got to strip all the signage down and redo it, but in a New York setting, and without the constraints of copyright. So we could do whatever we wanted. We could just, put up real posters, real movies, like just cover it. Because
Oh, that's
obviously in
cool.
film, you got to be careful with that stuff. But with Pleasure Dome, it didn't matter. It was just trying to put people into the 1980s. So yeah, that set in particular was just the greatest thing. Second to that was the morgue.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was creepy. It was a creepy set.
Yeah.
With all the bodies in it as well.
Yeah.
Like they looked real. They really, you felt it.
That's funny.
But I have a question, because you give birth to a lot of stuff with as we are as fan, we loved a lot, like the Champs beer logo. Okay, but the question is, how much stuff is requested, and how much freedom you have to decide what kind of creation you can put on the table,
Yes. Shimps came directly from Bruce Campbell. He, yes. Okay, so what happened was he came to, I don't know, maybe the Nick or George or Rob, and said, I want to make a beer, and it's going to be called Shimps, because the Shimp was in relation to, in context, the Shimp that's a Three Stooges character that they loved, and obviously slapstick plays a big role in that whole thing, and it's the stand-in for an actor when they're, facing away from the camera, and they say, "Bring in the Shimp." And it was this kind of running joke that I guess Bruce and Rob and those people had about the Shimp. And he said, "Yeah, a beer called Shimp." So he was very adamant about certain things, like where the origin was, and I guess he drank the beer from when he was, younger, which was Schlitz,
Mm.
and he wanted it to look like that. He wanted it to kind of hark back to that. Aside from those notes, I worked with the the prop master and the art director George to kind of come up with the design. But we went deep into the kind of idea of Shimps. We went, all right, so it's a legacy beer. It's in Detroit. It started, let's say, in the 1960s. So it needed a timeline. So we had earlier design for it, like a 1970s kind of style one, part of which you see in his bedroom. And then we have the modern kind of, it's like when a logo changes its style, it becomes less cool, I guess. So we wanted, the earlier one to be really cool, and then you look at the new one and go, oh yeah, it's a modern version, not as cool as the original. And we went deep into it. We made it, dropped it into as many posters as possible. Like if there was a sports thing, it'd be like sponsored by Shimps, and it was the idea being that it's in this world. And I guess the funny story is as you can see with this can you got up there, there's no apostrophe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what happened was I was told chimps, and I thought, okay, it's a plural, like there's many chimps, and made the design. Everyone signed off on it. We printed like 200 labels onto these cans, which was actually soda water. Got a neon sign made, everything. Came to the presentation. The prop master showed Bruce, and he went, "Oh, this is great. Where's the apostrophe?" And we went, what? Sorry. And he was like, it's Shemp is a one person. It's his beer, Shemp's. It needs an apostrophe. And we went, oh, fuck. And someone had the job of going through every can with a little silver pen, putting an apostrophe on it.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And
Yeah, this is a graphic, the wrong graphic. So okay, this is the one I'm showing is the wrong one. Okay.
It's
well,
it's 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 on the koozie
yeah.
too.
Good.
Let's see the correct
Yeah,
one.
there's
Yeah,
yeah,
like this one. Yes, in fact, there is
Yeah.
the
yeah,
apostrophe here. Yeah.
yeah.
And
That
that's
was a
the
big,
60s, 70s design, right?
yes, that's right. Yeah, that's an older one. That yeah, so
Yeah.
that became, and you can obviously see the S directly relates to the Schlitz S.
Yeah.
So then I saw, like, I actually looked it up. I went, Shimps, and I didn't realize how big it kind of became. So it's really cool because at the time we were like, this is funny, it's cool. I think it's obviously meaningful. We didn't see what kind of life it would have, so
Oh
it's
yeah.
very cool to see it. And they did all those ads too, right? And I think
Oh
season
yeah, for
two,
season 2. Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty funny. So yeah, it was cool. But yeah, the apostrophe is a big, it was a contentious element, and quite a like a blunder. It was really funny, and like, oh, we screwed up.
Yeah.
But it happened.
Wait a moment. There was a picture of the wait. Just
Yeah,
a moment. Okay. Yeah, this one so is corrected manually
yeah.
from
They were
the prop.
all. Every bear on the show had the apostrophe. We reprinted a lot with them. There's just the neon in his bedroom that doesn't have it, and yeah, yeah. That picture you just showed of the girl is a friend of mine, Jesse, and George wanted to have a life-size cutout of a girl modeling chimps. So I was like, oh, we'll pull him. I've got a friend who looked the part, and we did that. And I think it's deep in the background. You might see it on the show, but it's pretty buried in that huge
This
bedroom.
one. You're talking about this one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, yeah,
It's I forgot if that's I think that's in his room, isn't it?
yeah. It's in his
That
bedroom.
one? Okay.
No apostrophe.
No apostrophe.
Someone drew one on in the show, so you can see it. It does have an apostrophe later, but we kind of liked how it had, it was like kind of a sexist beer, one for the bullet, and we just kind of ran with it. We wanted to kind of give it its own life, so that it was like just a given within the show. Like it's a true beer. It's a real beer. It's it got a history. It's got a thing. Um, I think I sent you one of the Booty magazine covers, and on the back, every opportunity we put in an ad for Shemps, and there's one on the back of that magazine, which is from the cryobank scene where he donates sperm
Oh.
and gets, that. But you don't see it in the show, but on the actual prop was the big Shemps ad on the back, and it said it was a beer, just a frothy beer, and it said frothy head, wet lips.
You are talking about
That's funny. That's
this
good.
one, right? This one.
Yeah. That's the one.
Oh wow. It always amazes me how like there's so much hard work that goes into the art and production design of like movies and TV shows to the point where there's stuff that's really cool and unique and you might never see it.
That's right.
Yeah,
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 it goes
it's
there
great.
too.
And I was thinking even about, I mean, this magazine, and the title, and all the all the headlines,
Kiki and
Yeah,
Kansas. It's fun. These are really funny.
yeah, yeah. We were cracking up laughing about all those. Like oh, there was a reference that I think George Hamilton found called Jugs. There was a magazine called Jugs. Yeah, it was trashy, trashy porn magazine, and it was hilarious. And we were just coming up with the dirtiest shit we could to put on these these covers. And yeah, it was pretty awkward for me because I had to really I had to. I don't know if you remember the bit when this magazine comes to life. There's a model, a naked lady, and her hand comes out of the magazine and attacks him.
Oh yeah,
We had
yeah, yeah.
to yeah, so we had to do a photo shoot of her, and then I had to sort of make the layout in the magazine and all that, and kind of get rid of her arm because there was going to be a hole in the magazine where a real arm would come through and a prosthetic arm and all that. Um, but yeah, I ended up just censoring her with the little black circles when I was working on it because it's a big public office, and it was so. Um, but yeah, when I took the arm off for the thing, she sort of looked like an amputee as well, which just made it like if you walk past my computer and I was working on that, it was very kind of weird. But it needed to be done. Yeah, there was some funny shit. We ended up making quite a few of those magazines, and they were like in the back of Chet's car, or
Yeah,
just
like
sort of
the
around
like
the
this
place.
one,
And
for example, for example.
yeah, yeah, I don't know when you'd ever see it, but it was that out there. It's just like so funny. We were
Wow,
just cracking up. I think
Apparently,
a lot of
yeah,
those.
I really dug.
oh my god,
Yeah,
it's funny to me because it like
but I think
the I was gonna say the
It-
marketing department just like fell in love with the shimps and the dirty magazines. I
yeah,
realized because they did a contest on social media where they wanted fans to come up with names for titles Ash would read, and then they would get a
really,
prize. Yeah,
wow,
I'll
wow,
message you a direct link to when they were posting that and whatnot. It's hilarious the titles
yeah,
that people.
that's. I'd love to see that. Like, yeah, if you, yeah, Dirty
but
Dames, Pussy Grabber, obviously a reference
yeah,
to.
it's really funny. It's really funny. But I have a
Wow.
question because between these magazines, there is even uh, magazines about guns. So
Yeah.
where they were shown? I mean, they were shown on the show, or I don't have
Um,
many memory about those.
yeah, very, as you mentioned, a lot of that stuff that gets made doesn't get seen. But I think this may have been in the back of Chet's car, and perhaps like in the hardware store. It
Hmm.
could have just been like sitting on the counter, and because we went into that hardware store, and it's Ash's dad, and this kind of guy. He's like a older, sexist, Republican, gun loving, beer drinking dude. Like, what can we put in that world that sits within, give him a character? And I think I made a calendar that was kind of like a gun collector calendar with like a hot girl, and it's just there in the background. And the idea, I guess, with anything like that is it's kind of supposed to be not noticed because you just watch it at a glance and you see the semiotics and you read you just see something as in a flash, and you take it on board, and it just helps you immerse into that world. Like it's the idea of it being invisible is a good thing because if you notice the graphics or you notice these elements, it kind of throws you off. You just want to be in the scene and watch the actors and like understand the background that's playing a part. And we were like these Kiwi people trying to build a world that was Detroit, very different out. So we just go America. We went deep into that and kind of strayed a little bit. But yeah, Gun Collector was just part of that. Yeah, so it was very unnoticed, I would say.
Anyway, I'm reading the headlines here, and they are hilarious. I'm going to zoom because they need to be read. For example, keeping calm and carrying guns. Girl, my best friend used to be a diamond until I got a gun. Who will be laughing when the shits hit the fan?
Is that an Evil
Gun.
Dead reference?
This
Yeah,
one is
I love
is
that.
very cool. Yeah, I mean it's really funny. There
Yeah,
is even
I actually saw some doormats the other day. They were like um, about guns. They were pretty
gun
funny.
collector.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun. Like, I mean, I guess when you're on the computer for a long day, it's you kind of just keep yourself entertained. I would always try and make stuff funny, and it's the perfect show for that because it's all about humor in a way. Well, that's gore and humor. They work hand in hand, and so it was just like go for it, make as many funny things. And of course, Evil Dead fans are like big Easter egg hunters. So put whatever
Mhm.
you can, like layer it up, chuck it in there, and just like if someone happens to see it, good for them because it's that kind of thing.
I was gonna
Lots
ask
of
you,
funny
like,
shit.
are there any Easter eggs that you are most proud of or that you enjoy the most? And a second part to that question is, are there any Easter eggs that you don't think fans have discovered yet from watching the show thousands and thousands of times? Like in terms of from what you know of like people posting on social media and sharing, like do you think there's like any Easter eggs you guys dropped in the show that haven't been really talked about yet?
Well, I don't really know what people talked about, so I only discovered the Shemps thing this week when I was sort of preparing myself for this chat. I guess I'm not really on Facebook, so I don't see it. But
Or like
so
you
I'll
didn't
have to
realize how big
guess.
Shemp was?
I think there was a cinema in the street, which was yeah. No, I
Oh,
didn't. No, I didn't
oh, okay. I
at
was gonna say
all.
you cut off for a second. Okay.
So it's cool. It was very cool to see it.
Yeah, dude, they even put it in the video game
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
My I live in the bush, so my internet's.
Oh, okay.
Do they?
Yeah, they
That's
put
so cool.
Shemps in the video game. They changed it to a soda for whatever reason, and they
Okay.
changed like the logos and whatnot. I guess there's some legality with that, but yeah, in the game,
Okay.
in order to get health, you get Shemp soda and you drink it.
It's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, that's so good. I love it. Um, I think a tribute to Nick and all those guys, like they really wanted to have as much real stuff as possible. So there's a few posters at the exterior of the cinema that were, I think there's like an ET one, and when he goes back in time, maybe.
Okay.
So some good and the hills have eyes. That was quite a good nod there, but it's so background. I don't know if anyone saw it. There's a music shop when he goes back in time like that. That was a huge moment for everyone because we had to strip all the stuff from Outgrove and
Mm.
reset it, and so it was a big job to do. And Dan Lloyd, the concept artist, came with some real cool stuff and like ideas for all the different streets and the signage and all that. And it was a full makeover. But when you look at it in the episode, it's very brief, and you
Mm.
don't see half of the stuff. It was pretty cool, particularly the music shop. And there was someone playing an arcade game standing outside, and I got to design the
Nice.
machine around it, the graphics for it. So that was like a cool one for me. Getting to design an 80s video game arcade machine was pretty cool. And it didn't matter that it's not visible in the episode because it was fun for me. Other Easter eggs, I don't know. Like there's just so many little things, but I wouldn't. I think what is there? Tricky one. I think the bedroom. There's probably a lot in there that
Ash's
you know.
room.
Well,
Yeah,
there is
Ash's
this one.
bedroom.
Oh, sorry. There is this one content, specific content you sent to me that make me think there is a lot of let's say trivia for that, but I never noticed this until you sent to me this one specifically.
Mm.
Uh, this one, as you can see here in the back of Kelly, there is an "Hail to the King"
Yep.
poster here. Yeah,
Hails the king.
A-
Yes.
and this is
Yeah.
this one. This is this one.
Yes. That's right.
Eh, eh,
I actually never noticed that. That's
That
actually
was
really
in
cool.
his trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The getting the rights to. Oh, you go.
yeah. Can you hear me?
I was gonna say when you need to do a likeness of Elvis,
Hmm.
um, it costs a lot of money. So there was, I think, you know, it was just this mode because obviously he did Bubba Hotep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his character would be an Elvis man, not a Beatles man. And so they were like, "Yeah, let's put an Elvis poster in." It's sort of I think someone gets thrown at it, and it gets like a knife in it or something. So there needed to be repeats of it, and to get that made, it had to be a UV light, so that when it's the light lit on it, it would glow. So I had to find a screen printer that could do that old school thing because the top layer is kind of like a flocked surface. So it's like black, but it's got fur. So
Hmm.
it's got a really nice texture to it. So probably the most expensive poster in the show was that one.
Oh, wow.
Because I guess
well,
whatever it costs to get Elvis and the Elvis estate to say yes, then all the process of screen printing and flocking it, yeah, it was probably up there. And it was just a tiny bit that no one would have noticed.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's this one is in fact is great. I mean, very
Yeah.
effective
It does
when
look really
Yeah.
cool.
It's got the light, so the ink that they screen printed like glows when you put the black light on it. And I think there was a big thing in the 70s. So it was just another part of giving Ash, you know, an appreciation for his pop culture.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there is another tree after this. Obviously, it's not direct, but is pop culture at all. There is a guy in UK that is called Rob Kemp that made a musical show that is called The Elvis Dead, and he sing a song like Elvis, but in a setup as Evil Dead 2. So he play the role of Ash, and he changed all the songs to make them have sense in the Evil Dead story. It is a
Wow.
great show. I mean, it's very cool. So when I saw this poster, I thought to, as you said, about F, but even to the Elvis Dead because it's really funny and it's
That's so
very
cool. That's
it's very.
amazing.
But
He's
oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
he's a beloved character, isn't he? Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
funny, just so funny. Like, and again with this show, this this lineage of him being a young guy going to a cabin, unlocking the portal to hell, getting his hand cut off, killing his girlfriend, and then going back to his normal life. And just the baggage that he's got, the day-to-day gore that he ends up living with, it's hilarious. There's so much to him that you can explore, and it's the best. It's so funny.
Great character, great franchise.
Great
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
great franchise, solid. Like they can keep making Evil Dead movies forever with that Necronomicon.
Realistically, yeah.
Yeah, there's endless stories, and
How would
I like how they did that, or how they've reintroduced that franchise in different ways and like reinterpretations, and it'll probably keep happening as long as those guys can do it.
and they just announced they're doing two more, like recently.
Oh, cool! Wow, and we're
Two
so
new
lucky
ones.
that it came to New Zealand. Really cool.
Yeah,
I hope they film them here.
I have a feeling they will. Like they seem like they really enjoy the relationship they have with you guys, because Evil Dead 2013 by Fede was in New Zealand. Ash vs Evil Dead was in New
Yeah,
Zealand. Evil Dead Rise was in New Zealand. I can't imagine that they won't go back. I'm pretty sure they'll be calling you guys
yeah.
again soon for the next two.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I only got to do a little bit on the Evil Dead Rise. They had already filmed it, and I was in lockdown, and they did a pickup shot, which was the intro scene in the Japanese bar. And so I
Okay.
got to draw some graffiti things and give them scenic
Oh,
painting,
okay.
and he all the tagging on the wall and stuff. So that was my little moment on that movie. Otherwise,
That's
beautiful
cool.
movie.
Just at the
And
beginning, right?
obviously the bedroom.
Yeah,
Yeah, very beginning. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think Nick Nick and George, they love a good bedroom, and the boys' bedroom in that set, I think, follows back from the Ash bedroom, like just how cool it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
and how if you throw in, you see the little MF Doom sticker. I saw that and I went, oh, that's such a cool little thing to just give you a deeper meaning, like that character a deeper layer,
yeah.
and that's very cool. Like, and then so going back to Ash's bedroom, all that stuff was like there was like Ted Nugent posters, Black Sabbath, MC5, and it was just key to getting figuring out who Ash is, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
I love
Wow,
it.
wow. But you did just not posters, but even undrawn, right? Undrawn art.
Oh, the drawing? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
So
yeah,
so this one is yours. I mean, I'm going to share it because it's one of the funniest moments of the series. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I forgot. The Ruby portrait by Pablo is something you did.
Bigfoot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That I think that was one of my finest moments. It was scripted that he does a drawing of her, but it wasn't sort of specified. And so I kind of thought, okay, this guy's just met her, this crazy woman. Like he's probably traumatized by this fucking force of nature, and what would he draw? And it would just be like her as this furious character, and so I just was like, I'm gonna draw real shit and real funny, just like angry, and they loved it. They like, yes, this is perfect for Pablo, and they went with it, and I was very stoked.
And
There's
do you work?
also
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say the start of season 3, his daughter's high school. I drew a thing on a locker, and it's a guy, the
Oh,
principal,
Wow.
getting a dick slap.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
most of the really good drawings were like probably from Link, obviously. Link Choi. That's
And
the
when
yeah, I got to do it.
you, oh sorry, when you do all this hand drawn stuff, I mean, you do those digitally, and then the prop team transfer it to a sheet or something like that, or you did even the prop in this case, for example.
This was just hand drawn, so I had to draw it over and over on different papers, and kind of got better at it because I had to do maybe 15 of them.
Oh
And
wow.
then I guess someone, maybe a prop person or a scenic, kind of aged it so it looked like a piece of paper that he found in the back of his car, pull it out and just drew on it. you know. But yeah, some of the drawing, no, the drawing in Cheryl's bedroom was also hand drawn. I do like to draw digitally, but I prefer to draw, pencil and
Traditionally.
paper if I can. You can't, yeah, there's some things that you can transfer from digital to thing, but not pencil.
Did you do the drawings in Ash's room in the asylum as well?
Yeah, yeah, he did. He did.
Yes.
Wait a moment. I'm going to share. You did the right question.
Nice.
Yeah. That was so there was a concept art for that that Dan Lloyd did, and it was of the cabin, and I just sort of copied what he did, but then I just went to town and was trying to imagine. Okay, so this guy's like actually would have some big psychological issues. Like, what would he draw? And yeah, the chopping off the girlfriend's head was quite funny because he went through some shit in that cabin and it would have
Yeah, he did.
messed him up.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. We were laughing a lot about that shit. Like, what would Ash do if he was committed? Like, what would the like symbols of his trauma be? And they were like, yeah, the Necronomicon, killing his girlfriend, all that stuff. So funny. I don't think any of these made it. Like, I think I did about 20 or 30 different drawings just with a crayon, just real quick, trying to do them. And yeah, those are the 3 or 4 that got made it to the final thing. I remember Bruce Campbell, when he first saw that set, he walked down the hallway and said, "This is like my first apartment that I lived in."
Yeah, those are great. And how much it passed from when you do this kind of stuff, and the scenes were shot? I mean, how much time it passed from when you produce something and you see it on screen?
Uh, to when I
Usually, I
see it
mean.
on, or when it's filmed. Sorry,
No, when you see it on screen. I mean, when you get
watch it.
involved, I mean, and you can say, ah, that one is mine. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's about a year.
wow.
Yeah, because it goes through all that editing and music and post production, and they obviously strategically decide when they want to release it and what promotions they want to do before. Yeah, it's about a year. Most of the ones that I've worked on, I haven't watched because they're so bad. But this one is a proud moment for me. Um, Definitely like loved watching it and was just like stoked. Like what I felt like I'm a fan as well as got I guess was on the inside of it when it was being made. So it was one of those moments, like a rare moment, because a lot of the movies and TV shows that we make in New Zealand are not that great. Some of them are, but this was some of them are good, but some of them aren't. And it's a job. We're a contracting um, group of people, and we just go from one thing to another and try and put as much into it as we can. But you can't save a bad script.
Fair. Do you have a favorite piece of art that you contributed to the show? And this is kind of a three-part question. What is your favorite piece that you contributed? What was the most challenging? And which one was, like, I guess, the most rewarding or you're most proud of or whatever?
Hmm. Tricky. I think in hindsight, or looking at the Shimp stuff, that was definitely now, like in this moment, I feel most proud of that, I guess, because
Cheers.
that's yeah, it just turned into something. So I feel quite honored that I was the not even just the person that put the words and the picture on the can. Like it was, like it was definitely a brainchild of other people.
Yeah.
But being able to be part of that is great, beautiful thing. Um, the most challenging. There's so many challenges that pop up when you're deep into a TV show. Um, there's a lot of it you get time to prepare, but in the case of this show, I think the scripts were coming out a little bit late, so would be into a few episodes filming, and a script would come out for like episode 8. And so there was a lot of scrambling because you're trying to do what's in front of you, but also prepare ahead of time. And they're crazy scripts. So a lot of it is becomes a kind of quality, speed, and you kind of both. So like you got to like work really fast, really quickly, get it printed, get it set, it's put up, and that's it. So those challenges, those day to day, and dealing with vendors that are on the other end, like the print companies, like a huge, got to have a good relationship with them, because you call them and you say, hey, we just got to squeeze this thing in, we kind of need it tomorrow morning because they're filming it in the afternoon, is that okay? And they're like, yep, we can do that for you. So that kind of thing can be a bit white knuckling, I guess.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's an interest. Like I don't like. It's one of those shows that there were so many people involved, um, and the concept art was so strong. Like Nick really values a concept artist, because you look at this image and everyone just works off it. It's like a script for the art department. So a lot of the graphics that he did were just honoring that initial concept and looking at this piece of paper or a little thing on my screen going, oh, that looks like it says this, and kind of reinterpreting it to become a real print. But then there's also these moments like the Ruby drawing and just little things like that where I can just have my own contribution, my own like weird character can be put into those things. So and like the site drawings, all that stuff. So I think full credit to Nick for like allowing his crew to kind of breathe and like put their like humor and love of the genre into that stuff. There's probably so much in that, in all that stuff, in all the sets, like the choices of furniture and wallpaper. I think wallpaper was a big issue for us in
Really?
particular. Well, in New Zealand, we don't have access to any of that stuff. So we would have to look at, do the research, look it up and go, oh, that looks like this kind of thing. And I think for Ash's house, Brock's house, I had to look at it, like copy an image and make a wallpaper, and we got it printed. That sort of thing. So there's I guess that's the downside of them doing America and New Zealand is that, you know, we gotta just work with what we got.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
like it paid off because everything, like from my perspective as a hardcore fan, everything in the show looked great, honestly.
Cool.
So you guys did a great job.
Thank you. That's really cool. I remember so George, the art director, had a sort of, you know, when you're in your office, you print out some, usually like some references or
Hmm.
things that and put them on the wall. And he had like a Ford Bedford van picture, and it had like a little logo on it. I think it was either Merciful Fate or King Diamond or something. It was just like a little crude logo on this van in his office, and you know, being there chatting with him and like, look at this image, and trying to, why is that on his wall? And I think I came to realize like it was kind of like the barometer of how to do some of the things in that show, where it has to be like real in some ways, or like the message, the word King Diamond is the thing that'll carry through. Like the pop cultural references that you can put in are so key, and I loved it. So it really helped sculpt how I do graphic design. It's always like trying to keep it bare, or keep it like as like just proper and present it. Because when you're a graphic designer in the film industry, um, you mock up like what looks like real stuff
Yeah.
from the real world in a really quick fictitious way. So you look at anything like a book cover, a can of beer, a sign of a pawn shop, like magazines, like anything. You like, okay, this is the key component to that. I've just got to present it quickly, and when someone sees it on the screen, it's in flash. It's like a flash in a pan. They just need to like see it, register it, and that's it. So there's a lot of I learned a lot from that show. Yes, moving on.
Like this one, for example. Like this one, for example.
Love that.
Yeah, that would have been in the hardware store somewhere deep.
Yeah, there are a
Yeah.
lot of them. Like this one, even.
Real man with your. That's great.
Yeah, loved it. It was again like characterizing rock, you know, like what's the kind of shit they would have. This was yeah, came up with the name Smithereen because it kind of sounded like Smithereen.
Mm.
And
Nice.
when do stuff like this, which was for the hardware store, in the film world, you've got to come up with a brand name because you can't use a real one, particularly when there's violence. No one, some people don't mind, but a lot of brands don't want to be associated with that kind of thing. Fago,
Yeah.
the soda company, were on board, and that was pretty cool. I think that was a soda brand from the 70s or something. So we were able to make a few Fago things, and they were stoked. But generally, you got to come up with a brand and submit it to clearance, and they do research. They go, does this brand exist? And no, cleared. And then boom, we make Smithereen chainsaws, and
Oh,
yeah, it's just part of the process. Yeah, this was hardware store. I think there's a bit where the paint shaker becomes a
yeah.
weapon, right? Yeah,
Yeah, with
this was.
Pablo in the Deadite in season 3. Yeah.
I love that. I love how everything, just like a normal item, could be a weapon.
Be a weapon. Yeah. Especially in the Evil Dead universe.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
liked how in that last like the chainsaw ad, I really dig that
Mhm.
the model chainsaw is very similar to the one in the
Yeah.
original Evil Dead movie.
Yeah,
I did that.
yeah, that's right.
It was cool.
Yeah, I think I drew it because just wanted to make it legit, you know. That I remember one of the paint because I had to make up that paint tin, and then there had to be a whole, shelf of that paint brand. So I just came up with different logos, different names for the colors, and one of them was Witch's Kiss, which is yeah, a witch's kiss, if you don't know, is like if you sit down on the toilet and your dick or balls touches the porcelain, and it's
That's
very
what it's
cold.
called.
Yeah, so witch's
That's so funny.
kiss. So there's a paint color called witch's kiss. I think it's like a light blue. Um, I think this thing was maybe in the window of the hardware store. It was the hardware store was a beautiful set. It was like you walk in there and like you could smell the wood, and you got a good vibe of like this is a cool place. So like if you're into fishing or fly fishing or whatever, you'd come here. It was
Nice.
well lived in. But I think you never saw Brock in that store. It was just his part of the storyline was he owned that store. He did this stuff, and then Ash took over it and made it his own. So he had like the dildo counter and all that stuff. Just made it very Ash Williams, which is pretty funny.
And this one, right, is the. Wait a moment, I'm going to share it because this one, okay, it's arriving. Yeah, this one is the hardware store, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
every
the other side.
yeah.
That I guess that was season 2, and
Mhm.
that was just that door went nowhere. The actual hardware store that became part of the story of season 3 was on the other side of the street. So I don't, yeah, but I remember Total Value was a throwback to one of the real brands from the US. I can't remember the name, but it had that big bold red stuff. Yeah, the guns in there.
Yeah. Anyway, anything here is done by you, right? I mean, every kind of
Yeah, well,
poster
I think the
here.
toys probably not, but yeah, the quality paints, the gun poster, all that stuff. Yes, the I guess the idea was that everyone's sort of running out of business
Mm.
and they're closed up, or it's on threadbare kind of operation. It was cool. It was really cool set. That I remember so to the left of the outgrove word is a wagon wheel, and my friend had asked for it to be something like it was like I had to draw it to get it laser cut or CNC routed, and I misheard him, and it came back tiny because I sent it out to get made, and it came back at like this big instead of giant. So it was quite funny.
Wow.
But yeah, if I do have photos, I think maybe Nick might. But photos of that hardware store, the Ash's hardware store, where all the season 3, most of it takes place in there. Almost, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I have to remake a full rewatch of the whole series to give a
Yeah,
look of
yeah,
any detail, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. I think me too. I think I need to watch it again for a little refresh
I
because
think I've seen
it's
it too
good
many
watching.
times by now.
Yeah,
I've introduced too many people to the franchise. It's like we're gonna watch everything. So
yeah. I think I remember reading the script for season 2. I think season 2 is my favorite, in parts of season 1. But I remember reading the line where this car is possessed and it does a burnout on this person's face, and the
yeah.
skin peel off. And I was reading that and just in hysterics, like this is gonna be so funny. Like, how are they gonna do that? Like, who came up with that? It's so funny. It's gonna look nasty. and it pulled it. It was so funny. Oh, this, yep, the
Smash Mouth
Derby.
Derby. Yeah.
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 Um, yeah, that was fun. There was big banners for me. Again, like background, very background. Most people don't notice the graphic design in this set like this, and it was for me like, oh, cool, I get to do Destruction Derby. Like I love that stuff, like big monster trucks, all that stuff. I remember I tried to do some like Bigfoot shit, some like and Nick and George kind of went, look, it needs to be, go back to that Merciful Fate logo on the van. Like it needs to be just real. And so a lot of this was just a learning experience for me. That Nick Connor and Nick Bassett names
Yeah.
there. Always like kind of little nods to people in the crew and a lot of the graphics all throughout film. A lot of the time. I think
That's a cool logo. It's a cool design.
think we came up with that name, or I maybe came up with that name, but wanting to have triple X. Just whenever you can.
That's
Pretty funny.
really that's really cool. That's really cool.
That's cool. That's fun. That was cool.
Eh,
That was a good.
And you did even the police car logo, right? I mean,
Yes, that's right. Yep.
just a moment. I'm going to
Um,
show the logo, and then
Nice.
yeah. A lot of I think something like that would have been one of the first things they did on the show, because a logo like that, it goes across multiple departments. Like the wardrobe department need to get their uniforms made. They needed the embroidered stuff. Like the vehicles department need to put them on their cars. It's so yeah, it was probably one of the first things I did. I can't tell if this is a real. I think this is just a photoshopped mock-up that I
yeah,
made. It's
yeah.
not
It
real.
seems so,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah,
line here is a little bit too much regular.
yeah.
What I
I
mean?
think I don't even think that cow is the right. Like I had to Photoshop it to look gold because it eventually got painted gold. The Crown Victoria, cool car, love it. That's yeah. I think every job I've done, I almost have to do a vehicle of some sort, like a news vehicle or police. I've done so many of them since this show, and I've gotten better at them. There was I was sort of just starting out doing a lot of the stuff at this time on Ash vs Evil Dead. Maybe like 3 years in, 2 or 3 years in, kind of faked my way into graphic design, I would say. Yeah.
I was gonna ask
Studied
you, how did you? Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
please, good. What were you
I,
going
I
to?
was I was gonna ask, how did you get into the business with graphic design and whatnot, and get started with everything?
Do either of you guys work in film, or
Um, I'm an actor, but I've done a mixture of like being background on film and TV sets, and when it was a thing, when this was a job title, helping with the COVID department in terms of
cool?
making sure everyone's tested and no one tests positive on set and whatnot. So
Yeah, that was. I remember those days. I got into film. I went to art school. I um, didn't think about film really. Like I love film. I made films, and I wanted to kind of make. I always made short films, like for as long as I could remember. I can remember. And my girlfriend at the time, her stepdad was making a TV show. Well, he was the prop master on a TV show about Mr. Asia, who was one of New Zealand's kind of most famous drug dealers. He just
Okay.
smuggled weed from Thailand or something, and there was a TV show about that, and I um, was just kind of, I don't know. I'd finished out school. I was just floating about, and she was probably like, "Get him a job." He's fucking around. So he employed me. Get up at 6 every morning, come home at 7 at night to make fake money, fake drugs, and like dead bodies in bags. Like I was a prop assistant on a cool show about drug dealers, and I loved it. I was just fell right in love with film. I mean, this is perfect for me. I've got my skills from art school that would be entirely useless in the real world. Like, just what the fuck kind of job can you get with an art degree? Nothing. And film was just perfect for me. So, like, got to be creative, but in a practical sense. Do work hard, use all these creative things, but I guess it's split 50-50 between creative and practical. So, working between those two worlds, it's perfect. And from there, I met Gareth, who was the set decorator on Ash vs. Evil Dead, and he got me the job.
Nice.
So he's got a lot to thank for people. Yeah. Now I'm in it, and I don't really know like how I would transfer these skills to the real world. Hopefully, I don't have to, because it's I don't know.
Well, I'm happy for you, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
I seen from the stuff you sent to me that you even did the Cheryl drawing,
Oh
if I'm
yes,
not wrong.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
are really good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
The photo there to the right is actually of my uncle. The drawing of
Lee
Brock.
Majors.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wow, what a cool guy. What a legend. I think in the storyline it was probably, I don't know, Nick and Rob came up with a bit more of a backstory for Cheryl. They kind of went, all right, we're going into her bedroom, and she obviously died when she was like 18 or younger. We want to give her like her own life, and there was a lot of kind of just interpreting what it might be. And I like how they decided that she was actually sleeping with Chet the whole time, and he finds that out. And so there was kind of like a few questions of what kind of drawings would she do, and I guess it's just like she was an artist. We want to like make that really clear that she was really into drawing. She was a creative person. I think in that set as well, there's a Susie Quattro poster or something, or Joan Jett maybe, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice being able to make a drawing like that. It's really fun. You gotta really just work fast because you don't have a lot of time.
Mhm.
How long would you say those sketches took you to do the one of Lee and Bruce?
Well, maybe a day.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
day of work, or yeah, probably, yeah, a day each, I'd say. Trying to give it the time it needed, because you can't fake drawings like that. You got to just actually
Yeah.
put in the work and do it this bit fast. I think there's also like, particularly with the Lee Majors drawing, you got to kind of go through a few legal jumps to get, because
The
if that
likeness.
image, yeah, the likeness, and if that image was taken from something we just found on the internet,
Mhm.
we might get in trouble. So we had to I think I just had to get many images of him, kind of comp what what I'll draw it from, and if he's wearing a t-shirt in the original, I had to change to a shirt or something,
Yeah.
just so we don't get in trouble. But he was cool, man. He was a cool old guy.
He seems like it from
Perfect,
what
perfect for Ash's dad. That character,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
funny.
He is a perfect fit for that role. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. We kept you for more than an hour, so
Oops.
the times fly when you talk about something you love, and you have a very cool
Yeah,
guest like you. I mean, we are very grateful for all these stories, behind the scenes, and this podcast, is, if you can call it so. We really love artists like you. We had other few participating in this live, and every time we discover something that is really magic, like
yeah.
the story of the apostrophe, or stuff like that. So I mean, it's great for us as fans, and
That's amazing.
so
I love that you're doing this. I love that you're, you know, a fan and you're keeping it alive and you're talking about it. It's really cool. It's
yeah, yeah.
really cool.
Thank you very much. And Chris, before leaving, have you had other kind of question, maybe before making a...
Uh, the other question I can just message you about because I don't want to like take up like your time because it's a question about Ash's room and like I feel like we could spend another hour talking
Yeah.
about his room and everything that's in there and whatnot.
Yeah.
But um, I guess which episode are your favorite that you got to work on?
Ooh.
Like both in terms of the art that you contributed and being able to just be a fan and watch the episode. Like which ones would you say are your favorite?
Hmm.
We'll close it on that on mine.
Well, I mean, I think just the first two episodes of season two were hilarious. Like I loved it because it was still new to me, and it was exciting. And when he's in Jacksonville,
Oh,
and it was just so funny and so exciting. It was like massive for me because all that stuff, that bar, all that stuff was a lot of work. So it was um, cool to see it. Cool to see it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely the first half of season two. Anything because you got to get the sets ready mostly before they start filming. So it's not really done in an episodic way until a little bit later when new sets pop up and you go, oh. But prepping for that, we had streets, the bar, the house, all that stuff. So it was all kind of got delivered at once. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Hey, thanks for having me, you guys. It's been really cool talking to you both.
It was.
likewise. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very
Oh,
much for being with us, and
yeah.
keep continuing having this. I mean, doing this cool stuff because we love it.
Thank you. That really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
So,
Cool.
thank you everyone for following this live. Thank to Chris that participated and helped me in keeping the conversation with Scott. And obviously, thank to Scott for his very very cool contribution to this podcast, and I'm sure that this episode will be loved a lot in the next few days. I mean, people
Cool.
will watch it and Discord, because there is this group of prop makers, Knights of Sumerian, and they love this kind of
Yeah.
kind of stuff. They were made even the if I'm not wrong, Chris, maybe I'm wrong. They even remade the Shams
Yeah.
cans. They
A
they
lot of fans
reproduced that.
they
Yes.
remade the cans and whatnot. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
cool.
so
and they were
I
diving deep, trying to figure out how to get the logo just right, how to get the
oh,
cans right, and yeah, like if I
wow.
can. Do you have a Facebook?
No, I've got
No.
Instagram.
Okay. Because I was gonna say if you had a Facebook, I could invite you to the group, but I'll see if I
Oh
can
right.
send you like a link or
Please, yes, yeah,
screenshot so you
yeah,
can see and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, if I had the original file, I would send it to you guys of the print file that I made for it, but it's on the hard drive that crashed,
No
so I don't
worries.
have it. But
Yeah.
I'll see what I can
Is
pull
it
up.
all
Yeah,
right?
it's
and
the
send it
worst
to you.
nightmare for a
Yeah,
graphical
devs,
design and their
yeah,
drive.
yeah,
Hopefully, it was another one and not the one on which you were working at that moment, right?
yeah.
I mean, their drive. It was not the one on which you were working at that moment and that blew
No,
up.
it died after the fact.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was less worse, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. It was just I like to, I guess, day-to-day work can kind of pull up a lot of old files and it speeds the process up. And so I try to keep everything I make just for that. And yeah, it's so sad. But never mind.
Hopefully there'll be a way to like retrieve it some kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Cool, guys. Well, hey, thanks so
Okay,
much.
thank you very
Good to talk.
much. Thank everyone, and have a good night. Goodbye
Yeah.
or good
Stay
day,
groovy.
depending on your time zone. Goodbye.
See ya.
Peace out, buddy.